The San Francisco Opera House opens. New York City Palace Theater fully converts to a movie house. Many consider this to be the final nail in the coffin for vaudeville. The entertainment industry went from small live variety shows to pre recorded entertainment, all while unemployment in the USA hits 33%, or 14 million people without jobs. The year is 1932. And this drop dead gorgeous cannonball record setting car that you probably never heard of before, the Graham Blue Streak, was available at your Graham dealer. But before getting into all of it, I'm your host, Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that brings to light cars that you may have never heard of before. History, specs, design. See these cars like you've never seen them before. We post between 4 and 5 episodes a week, with engine episodes generally on Wednesdays. If any of that sounds of interest to you, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. Real quick announcement before getting into this one. We are bringing back a segment called Part of the Conversation. The next part of the conversation will be Wednesday, November 20th at 11 a.m. And the beauty of it is, if you watch it live, you can ask questions and be part of the conversation. This one is going to be with the AACA, or the Antique Car Club of America, and it's going to be awesome, and I hope that you guys can tune in. Mark your calendars for Wednesday, November 20th at about 11 o'clock a.m. 1932 Graham model lineup was broken down into 3 model offerings. You had the Graham 6 in the proverbial basement with a 70 horsepower 6-cylinder, followed by the Great Graham 6 with an 80 horsepower 6-cylinder. At the top was the Great Graham 8 90 horsepower, aka Blue Streak, designed by Amos Northrop, the same guy that did the Rio Royale and the Willis 77. This design is considered by many to be the single most influential design in automotive history up until this point. It was advertised as the most imitated car on the road. The design introduced a number of innovative ideas. The concept that got copied the most was the enclosed fenders, concealing mud and grime to the underside. This was the very first car to have enclosed fenders. Radiator cap was moved under the hood. Graham was also an early adopter of metallic paint, but instead of using aluminum particles in the paint contained crystals, which gave it its shimmer. The revolutionary bits wasn't just applied to the top of the car. Graham chief engineer Louis Toms designed an all-new frame for the body to be mounted to. Graham called the new frame Deep Banjo Frame, with live rear axle, which passed through cutouts in the frame, which allowed the car to sit 2.5 inches lower. The leaf springs were mounted to the outside of the frame rail. Guy by the name of Irwin Baker, better known by his stage name, Cannonball Baker, a nickname given to him after setting a record in 1915. The newspapers nicknamed him Cannonball after New York's unstoppable Cannonball Express. Baker would do no less than 143 endurance record attempts, whether that be on motorcycles, cars, and trucks, always trying to beat his previous record. And he would put his own money on the line to motivate him to beat those records. No record, no pay. Also, you have to remember, when Baker set these records, the roads wasn't what they are today. A lot more dirt roads. There wasn't any major highway networks. He also would switch it up from time to time and sprinkle in challenges along the way. Once he drove an Oldsmobile cross country exclusively in high gear. His best, most remembered record was when he got behind the wheel of a 1932 Graham Blue Streak 8 and drove it across country. He did it in 53.5 hours and was the time to beat. The record would stand for 32 years, being beat in 1964. The coast-to-coast run is called Cannonball, after all the coast-to-coast runs made by Irwin Baker. This design was a big deal. It was a leap forward in design. So let's compare 31 on top, 32 on the bottom, starting in the front. The bumpers on the 32 are clean, split, and elegant. They are slightly angled upwards, whereas on the 31, it's just a solid bar. The grille is drastically angled back, which makes the car have this appearance of motion, even if it's standing still. Whereas on the 31, the overall styling of that car is more contemporary for the time period. The grille is angled and it tapers at its base on the 32. It also looks like a shovel nose, which you'll see better when we do the walk around. The 31 grille slash radiator shell is broader. Headlights on the 31 are attached to bars in between the fenders and are bright, whereas on the 32, they are mounted to pedestals attached to the fenders. The 31 also looks edgier just about everywhere, whereas the 32 has more of a smooth appearance. The windshield on the 32 is raked versus straight up and down on the 31. Fender profiles on the 32 have that beautiful shape and they flare out as they come in the front and boxed in on the edges. It's also important to notice that the hood louvers are angled back as well, and they kind of mimic the same angle as the windshield. Graham would offer the Blue Streak from 1932 through 1935 in two trim levels, standard and deluxe, offered in four body styles: four-door sedan, two-door convertible, two-door coupe, and two-door coupe with rumble seats. Another cool feature this car has is ride control, which stiffens or softens the springs on the fly. Let's talk specs. It rides a wheelbase of 122.8 inches, estimated weight of 3,200 pounds, price. And this is a bit conflicting because every advertisement piece you see, it's going to have a different number. But this was the basement number that I could find, $845, which would be equivalent to you spending $19,447.40 in the year 2024 for an 8-cylinder car. Which means there is not a modern day equivalent. Total 1932 Graham was 12,967 units. Moving on to engine, only one engine on offer for this car, 245 cubic inch displacement flathead inline 8. 4 liters. It was good for anywhere between 90 to 94 horsepower at 3,400 RPM, estimated 145 pound-feet or 196 newton meters around 1,500 RPM with a bore of 3.13 inches and a stroke of 3.98 inches. Compression was 6.5 to 1. It is backed with a 3-speed synchro-mesh transmission, synchro-mesh between second and third gears with a theoretical top speed of 81 miles per hour. So, let's talk styling, and I have to admit, this car is a 33, not a 32, but I already wrote the script for a 32, and the body is largely unchanged. 34 was the major redesign, not so much to the body, but they saw the addition of a supercharger that was added. So, this is a 33, not a 32, but they were pretty much the same. Anyway, headlight buckets and or pods are painted body color with a very thin, petite, bright trim ring. Just look at the grille. So much is going on with this grille design. It has grille bars that are also angled, or they don't run up and down parallel to, all the lines are not parallel, I should say. The grille also changes shape. It's broader at the top, and then as it tapers down, it gets more slender. Also has a bit of a shovel profile with Graham badging at the bottom as well as Graham badging at the top. Elegant bumpers which are split and slightly angled up without bumperettes and or overriders. Just check out the grille profile at this angle. What a grille. Epic mascot. Also notice all of the pinstriping and minimal amount of bright work on this car. And then you have those trend-setting fenders, which were so revolutionary that damn near every manufacturer redesigned their 1933 cars to include fenders like these. Despite the car itself not having a lot of bright work, the wheels are completely bright. Fenders flow into the running boards with side mounts. Hood louvers are also angled with pinstripes on the louvers. This car doesn't have any side mirrors. 2 cowl vents, bright work around the windshield. Wipers would be mounted to the top of the windshield so the windshield can open. The hood is butterfly hinged, under bright trim, single piece windshield. This car doesn't have drip rails either. The edges are flared out. Door handles are very elegant. They almost look like Packard door handles. Wide running boards, flowing lines in the rear profile. Also notice how the rear body work has that pressed in look with big beads on the edges. License plate mounted to the top of the taillight bracket with Graham badging. Luggage rack in the rear with Graham badging on the center of it. The bumpers in the rear are totally different than the bumpers in the front. There's only one bumper in the back, single blade. Step pad to get into the rumble seat. On the positive side, this is an awesome car that can be easily mistaken for something else, like an Imperial, because that's exactly what I thought it was the first time I saw it. Even a 1934 Chrysler 6. Interesting Irwin Cannonball Baker tie-in. Bodies didn't change much over the course of its life from 1932 through 1935. Affordable, record-setting car, revolutionary in design and function. I've read people that bought these and kept them forever, and a lot of people ask me doing this, which cars do I really want to own? I want one of these. I've been looking for one. They are very rare. Against it, despite it holding the coast to coast record for almost 35 years, it's a forgotten car. It should be in the books, but it's not. It's not as well known as it should be. It's like the United States. It's like the SS United States. Record holder, and just nobody cares about it. Breaks my heart. Parts are hard to find, especially engine parts. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. To quote a friend of mine, they didn't make a bad car in 1932. This isn't going to be fair, but which one would you rather have? 1932 DeSoto 8 or 1932 Graham Blue Streak 8 or 1932 Nash Advanced 8. I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. On to the second scenario. 1932 Pontiac V8 or 1932 Graham Blue Streak or 1932 Hudson 8. Once again, going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. Now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to get both the name of the band and the song title correctly in the comment section will have their comment pinned to the top of it. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. And I have another confession to make. I'm sorry I didn't have the footage that I normally have about the interior and the engine. I did not want to lose or miss this opportunity of showing this really awesome car. This won't be the only time that we feature a Blue Streak. I was really hoping to see one at Hershey, but I didn't get that opportunity. But anyway, thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below. Or shoot me an email at what_it's_like at a lost and mostly forgotten web provider, yahoo.com, if interested. Thanks again for everything that you guys bring in the comment section. And until next time, toodaloo! Welcome to the after show. See this car like you've never seen it before. This part of the video doesn't have any commentary or music, but you can put whatever music or commentary you'd like in the background. Enjoy.